Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode of FPLTIPZ live stream. I hope you've all had a good week and enjoyed game week 31 a little bit. Enjoyed the football that was on, maybe not the scores that you were getting. Let me know in the comments, guys, what scores you were getting, whether you're happy or not with them. Yeah, just let me know. I apologise in advance, guys. I've been a bit ill the past couple of days, so if I'm snivelling at all, I hope, one, you can't hear it, and two, it doesn't bother you very much, but I'll do my best to work around it for you. A lot to discuss, a lot of big news today, so yeah, a lot of things to discuss, so I couldn't really skip out on this stream today, so I hope all is good with you. So yeah, guys, let me know in the comments what you got, what you got this week. Let me know. I just realised that I haven't. What's the date? 19th. So what's the date next Tuesday? 26th. It'll be at 6 o'clock. I think we'll be moving the stream to. And my rank is now moved from 60k to 59k. There we go. You have the flu, Harry? No, just a sore throat and a bit of a runny nose, but I'm alright. I'll be fine. Still working. It's not the flu. I'm not nearly ill enough for that. It's just a couple of days, but I'll be fine. Much better now than I was yesterday. So yeah, 25 minus 8, 43 minus 4. So as you can see on my team, you're extremely happy with 31. I got 41 with a minus 4. Mane, Rondon doing the stuff. But I have to say, my most enjoyed return this week, and you may have seen me on Twitter, was when Charlie Taylor got the assist for McNeil's goal. Now, for those of you who might know, I brought in Charlie Taylor about 6 weeks ago, and he's played a few games for me, sat on my bench a lot of the time, and I brought him in precisely for game week 31 and game week 33, and he got an assist, and I just went crazy. It was the best return. It was the best return I've had in a long time. Mane scored 2, but it wasn't nearly as enjoyable as that was. Oh no, I was so happy. It's the best return I've had. And I've had captain hauls bigger than double figures and everything like that, but Charlie Taylor's assist was the best thing that's happened in a long time. I was so pleased with it. So yeah. Sorry, I just had someone trying to phone me, but what a crap gaming. I know. And let's get ready for game week 32. I think people are already forgetting about game week 31, moving on to game week 32. Got another assist, a deserved penalty was given to. Did he? I didn't know that much. If only he'd had another one, but one's more than enough for me. If he'd got 2, I think I would have completely lost it. Yeah, but 41, I had a green arrow of 1k from 60 down to 59. At the start of the week, I was expecting more than that, to be honest. I was expecting more than a 1k rise with the team I had, but come the end of the week, I was more than happy just to see it not be red from just what was flying around on Twitter and like that. I did quite well with 41. So now, I haven't even... Sorry, guys, it hasn't saved my updates. Just do that. 6.5k. Yeah, I would have gone crazy if he'd got a second one. Anyway, so now I imagine this is why you're all tuning in tonight. You've come to discuss this and talk about and hear what I've got to say. on all of these fixtures that were confirmed just this afternoon. They obviously had my stream in mind. They knew that I was streaming and I needed the information to come by then. So yeah, thanks to them. And my free hitting this week, I am indeed, and I'm very excited about it. So yeah, free hit 32 for me and for a lot of you. What, according to you, are the best differentials for 32 if you want to climb up the ranks? So I've got a few things and I want to go through with them for you. I want to go through each individual team for you, and we'll discuss players, and I want to do them all individual one by one for you. We'll go from the top down. Free hit active here, free hit active. Mine's not actually active because I was waiting for these fixtures, because I don't know, I didn't actually realise that I suddenly had a momentary blank where they could be. I was like, why aren't they putting 34 or 36 or 37 or something like that? So I was like, hang on, why if they're not putting 32? But now that they are, I just had a. I haven't decided on it. I've had so many drafts that I'm not happy with. I've got sort of things written down that I'm going to talk to you about that will be in it, and things like that. But yeah, so if we go from the top to start with, Brighton, I personally wouldn't touch them for this first one. I think if you're on your free hit, I wouldn't touch them. That's Southampton at home. Southampton are playing very well, followed by Chelsea away. I think there are better options. Maybe if you're playing your bench boost, you might want one, but you don't want. I wouldn't want anything more than that. If in my free hit team, I will not be going anywhere near a Brighton player, nowhere near them. If there's anyone in there, it would probably be a defender and hope for a clean sheet in that first game, and even potentially against Chelsea. But as a Chelsea fan, when we get to Chelsea, you can roast me or discuss or do whatever you want about Chelsea when we get to them. So yeah, for Brighton, there isn't anyone that I would want. And something that's important to note on Brighton is I think a lot of people are looking at them rightly. For when people wildcard in 34, to have one in your 34 team, and then probably on your bench for your bench boost in 35, which is fine. The only thing is you need to look at how many games Brighton are playing between now and the end of game week 35. They play 7 times in about 25 days, which is just over. It's about once every 4 days they play. Brighton play about once every 4 days, including a FA Cup semi-final in game week 33, just before their 34 blank. This is the most Brighton players will have played ever in their career. They will have not had to have played this many games ever. I imagine their centre-backs will stay the same, so I will be looking at Duffy or Dunk. Yeah, so yeah, Duffy or Dunk will probably play both games, but apart from that, I don't think it's going to be very easy to call. 7 games in 25 days is just way more than they've ever played. So starting in game week 32, including in those games, Chelsea, City in the Cup, Wolves away, Tottenham away, and then the Bournemouth at home and Cardiff at home, very big games that they sort of need to win. You know, they're not safe yet, Brighton. So they've got difficult games surrounded by must-win games. So I think they're going to need to turn out full-strength teams, but I will only be looking at one of their centre-backs in 34, maybe 2. 2 defenders in 34 that I then transfer out, one of them for 35 and keep one for their double then. So, sorry guys, I have been ill, so I'm just doing my best to get around a runny nose, but I will do my best. Sorry about that. You've got Stevens first on your bench. Rest. This is the thing. For game week 32, unless they're injured, they're going to play in one of the games. Most of these teams are going to they're going to play in one of the 2 matches. So you really don't need a great bench. My bench will probably be like one player from, it might even be a Brighton player. but like I'll have one of them, or I'll have Wan-Bissaka on my bench or something like that, and that'll be it. And the others will be as cheap as I can get them, the cheapest midfielder or the cheapest striker, depending on what formation I go with. But let's keep moving down the list. Now we move to Cardiff, and as one of you said in the chat, Cardiff, just don't even bother with them. Chelsea at home, City away. It's just, there's no point in it at all. At all. As simple as that. Skip them. Now the big one. Let me just... let me just tweet that out again. Sorry. So yeah, now we move on to the big city, and we might be here for quite a while. And you guys sort of discussing, that's why, because that's not back enough. You guys wondering, Clement, not much, just saying that just watch out for Brighton. You don't want them in game week 32. Cardiff, skip them. Brighton probably 34, 35. You want a defender, but they play a lot of matches, so there probably will be rotation. They play 7 games in 25 days. So, but now we're moving on to Man City. We're just going down the list. Fulham, Cardiff. If you're on your free hit, if you're not on your free hit, 2 of them is a minimum. And if you're on your free hit, I think a triple up is essential. I don't know why you wouldn't have them. For me, Sterling, Aguero are essential. Essential. You cannot. Why would you choose to have others other than Sterling and Aguero in your team? They are on international break. Aguero doesn't have international duty. He's not playing, I don't think. So he is fully rested. Sterling will play, but max of 1 game, because he will have had. He knows what Pep wants, and Pep will have told England that not to play him. So those 2 are essential. And now the third one, a lot of people are looking at that defence. Triple attack. This is the thing. People are looking either at the third player being an attacker or a defender. For me, the attackers just aren't good enough. The rest of the attackers aren't good enough. David Silva, Bernardo Silva aren't returning enough points frequently. Sane, we don't know if he's going to play. Same with Mahrez. You don't want either of them, in my opinion. So it would be one of the Silvers. And there is case for having them. But I really prefer... I will be getting a defender. And now whether that defender is going to be a Laporte. I think it will either be Laporte or it will be Ederson. And it will probably depend, it'll be down to what I think is going to happen with the Chelsea lineup. And whether I want to play 2 Chelsea defenders, or I think there's rotation there. My ideal is to play 2 Chelsea defenders because I think they've got more going forward. And then have Ederson in goal. He was great, but that's because he was playing left back, and I think that's unlikely to happen. Luiz and Kepa, there's rumours going around that Luiz might not play both games. There's a lot of chat about that. Is my only worry, which is why I'm considering getting Kepa and Laporte over Luiz and Ederson. But Walker is a good shout for a differential, yes, but there have been a lot of games. He's been rested and rotated a bit recently because he's a bit older than a lot of that Man City squad. So the likes of Danilo, especially with games like Fulham and Cardiff, when they've got a cup semi-final, Palace away, Tottenham and Man U coming up, and if he's playing international duty as well, he is probably the best differential if you want a differential in defence. Laporte nailed and goal threat from corners. I wouldn't really say Laporte is much of a goal threat from corners. City don't tend to just hoof it in the box from corners that much, so I wouldn't get him for his goal threat. I'd get him for his clean sheet potential. So for me, it's Sterling and Aguero, and then Laporte or Edison, depending on how your team sets up. So that's what I'd be going with there. Now we move on to Spurs, and this is a bit of the thing is that the fourth mid, can you get apart from Sterling, Hazard, Popper if you aren't going for City mid. So now we're moving on to Spurs, and there's a lot of interesting talk about Spurs. And while I talk about Spurs, I'll also talk about Liverpool, because they play each other. Liverpool's only game in 32. Liverpool's only game in 32 is Spurs. Spurs at home. And I feel it's a big game for both of them. Neither team are wanting to lose these games. So I think it will be a cagey affair. In my free hit team, I will have no Liverpool players. I won't. I was tempted by Mane, and as I said if any of you are on FPL Family Patron, if not, go check them out on Twitter. You know, FPL Family. Go check out their Patreon. You get a free pod every Friday, and you get to talk on Slack with them every weekend. The match day stuff is great. If any of you in the chat are also on there, you know how great the Slack stuff is. So yeah, that is worth it for the Slack alone, and then the weekly tournaments, monthly tournaments you get. But as I was saying on there, if Mane wasn't playing against Spurs or a top team, then I'd really probably put him in my team. It's the fact that it's Spurs, and I think it could be quite a cagey affair. New stadium uncertainty for Spurs. Now, to be honest, there's two ways of thinking about it, because for me, I think playing in that new stadium will be a bonus for them. I think they'll come out flying in that Palace game. I think it'll be a big boost for them, actually. But the Liverpool game, so for me, I think I'm considering having Son in my team. Son is a consideration in my team. Not entirely sure. I think Kane's probably more on form and more likely to return in that Liverpool game. Ali is a great differential, and anyone looking for a differential to rise the ranks, Ali is definitely that guy. Definitely one to look at. But I don't know. What you need to look at is, do you have a... So with Tottenham, they have a Crystal Palace at home player, which they've all scored minimum. They've all ended 1-0 or something, or 1-1 in the past 8 matches or something. So it doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of goals there. So, but then they have a second game as well. I don't think you want loads of them. I think you maybe want Kane or Son, and I think you leave it at that. But then again, against Palace, you kind of hope they keep a clean sheet. So anyone looking at Lloris, again, it's not a bad decision. So with Tottenham, I would be going with one player max from them. Yeah. Now, talking about Liverpool, we'll talk about single game week teams and whether there are anyone here worth considering. And I think the other one that a lot of people are talking about is Arsenal, Newcastle at home. Again, I will not be having any Arsenal players in my team. I will be staying clear, and I will be having 11 double game week players in my team. Simple as that. I'm not even looking at the bottom half of that list. So Southampton, Arsenal, all of them. I'm not even looking at them. I'm just picking 11 players that play twice. End of story. Because I don't want to risk playing Aubameyang, who's sketchy, when I could play Kane, who, yes, we don't know how he's going to play, but he's got 2 matches to do it, and Kane doesn't often go quiet in 2 matches in a row. Exactly, Connor. Maybe a defender in there. Palace better away from home. This is it, and we'll get to Palace in a minute, and a lot of people are considering their assets for their free hit team. So, I think that... yeah, so for Tottenham, I will be looking at one of their players, probably Son. So if they do get a clean sheet, I do get a point out of that. But that will be it. So Man U now, Watford at home, Wolves away. Another big team. You will want in your team 2 minimum. 2 minimum from United. Paul Pogba, although he's playing deep recently and not getting attacking returns, I have to say I think is essential. He is essential for your free hit team. Rashford, the reason I want to discuss Rashford, right? Rashford has had 1 attacking return since game week 24. And I have a feeling that coincides with when they've looked a very different team the last few games. I mean, so for Lukaku, game week 24 was when he started to get minutes. And that has meant that he's scored in the FA Cup, and I will probably have him, but he's not at the form that he was. I currently have Pogba and a defender. I currently have Pogba and Lindelof in my team. Just watch out, guys, that Shaw, if you're looking at Shaw, has 9 yellow cards. So you risk him being suspended for that second match if he gets one. Lukaku in your team at the moment. Hi, Supersport Gaming. Lukaku in your team at the moment. I worry that they're going to want to go back when Martial and everyone returns, that Lukaku won't be getting in the team. I think Rashford is nailed to start. I think Lukaku isn't. And I think there's a lot of budget to spend. I think Lukaku will start one of the games, but I don't know if he'll start both, especially being injured at the moment. But, yeah. But then they do have a rest in 33. But I would be wary of Rashford unless we know he's fully fit and you want a differential. Again, Watford and Wolves are big physical teams but ones that Lukaku could thrive in, that Rashford maybe not. So if you want a differential, look at Man U, Lukaku even. Martial, again, I'd be wary of him because of Lukaku, because of the amount of rotation that will take place on that wing. I wouldn't be looking at Martial. Think about rotation. You want 2 players. You want a player that really is going to play both games. Otherwise, if you're going to pick a player like Martial, who's only going to play 1 game, then why not pick a single game week player? So you're picking a double game week player, but then you're picking a player who is likely to only play 1 game. So yeah. Sorry, lads. Sorry, guys and girls. Rashford is a good price in fixtures. This is true. I will probably end up having him. So now we move on to Wolves, and as we get to Wolves and Watford, we will do them together. And I would be wary. So Wolves and Watford, be very wary of them. Cheers, viewers. I just got a bit of a runny nose. I am sorry if it's disturbing you. But yeah, this was a big stream that needed to be done at this time with all these fixtures. A lot of you have a lot of questions. So, so Watford and Wolves, I would be very wary of them because of them having a cup semi-final. The seasons are over for Wolves and Watford. Like, they're finished. Like, they are finished for the season. So they both will want that FA Cup final. So they both will rotate heavily across those 2 games. Now, Wolves have, if it was Man U then Burnley, the team they put out against Burnley would be weak. The fact that they've got Man U second is interesting because they're not going to want to, if they rest against Burnley but then and play them against Man U, their best players, they're still playing twice in a week, which I don't think they'll want. But they will rotate in 1 game. I imagine them to put out 2 75% teams in both of them rather than 150 and 100% team. I imagine to be 2 slightly weakened teams for both of them. Well, for that Watford-Fulham game, I think Watford will have a very poor team out against Fulham. We will see the likes of Deeney and Delafeu probably both rested for that. So I would stay clear of both Wolves and Watford. I might have Jimenez, but it's probably a straight shoot-off between Jimenez and Rashford for me in my free hit team. So for me, it will be probably Rashford. The only player likely to start both games are the keepers and maybe some of the centre-backs. But so Foster you could have, hoping he keeps a clean sheet against Fulham and some save points against Man U away. I think that's probably your best bet. Yeah, so Foster is definitely a good idea. I think the three centre-backs will stay the same. It is a potential. Wolves don't rotate them. But then again, Wolves away at Burnley, at home to Man U. Unlikely to get a clean sheet there that much, to be honest. And Watford, Man U away, Fulham at home. If you want a defender, I'd go for Fulham. Patricio, Robertson, Van der Martial, Milivojevic, Pogba, Kane, Aguero. I'd look to get Doherty out of that list. I'd look to sell him. I would only consider Deulofeu due to form. This is true, but his form is done well because he came off the bench against Liverpool and scored against Liverpool, I think, or City and scored. But I still think that there will be a lot of rotation and virtually none of them will play their top players. Deulofeu, I'd put a lot of money Deulofeu not starting against Fulham, so I wouldn't be going near him. Now we go to Fulham, and I think, as we did with Cardiff, Fulham need to be skipped. If you want to have a bench fodder from them because they're cheap, then go for it, but you don't want one of them in your starting team. Simple as that. Will Alonso start the next two? Right, I'm going to do Palace first, and then we'll get to Chelsea last, right? So, Palace, Huddersfield, Tottenham. A lot of people looking at because of that Huddersfield at home game, and I think they are great options. The three options I would look at are Wan-Bissaka, four options actually. Wan-Bissaka, Milivojevic, and then Zaha or Batshuayi. Hi Liam, sorry, we did discuss that, but just for Spurs mids, it's Son or Ali. Son is safer, Ali if you want a differential. Oh, and Schlupp, yeah, sorry. Thanks, Farron. Yeah, I'm going for Son. I'm going for Son because of my rank. So Schlupp, sorry, yes, Schlupp is the other one. And actually, I think Schlupp is a really great option. I have him written down in front of me, but I didn't say him. Probably actually a better option than Wan-Bissaka because Schlupp plays in that midfield. He's had an assist, 3 assists in the last 4 games or something like that. So he is one that I am considering. The only reason I'm not sure about whether I'll fit him in is the way I want a City defender, a United defender, and potentially 2 Chelsea defenders. We'll get to that in a minute. Varun, I just don't know why people would have PVA over Schlupp, because Schlupp gets forward more and he's cheaper. So play 4-3-3. I don't know if I want to play 4-3-3 to get Schlupp in my team, is the only thing, gee whiz. Do I really want to change formations and take out an attacking player in order to get Schlupp in? But then my midfield 3 and my attack 4s could be Son, Pogba, Sterling, Aguero, Rashford, and Kane or Higuain or someone like that. So it could work nicely, and it could mean that my front 6 is very strong. So it's not out of the question yet. And I think, do you remember, was it 2 years ago, Stoke had a double game week, which no one considered them because they had City. No, I think did they have City or someone like that? City or someone like that. And then they kept 2 clean sheets or something. And so there was a lot of investment in defenders in double game weeks, I think. I think 2 games, especially if they got 2 easy games, or 1 definitely easy, gives them an option. Although Huddersfield, Crystal Palace are not as good at home, and Huddersfield have been scoring goals lately. So do we really expect them to keep a clean sheet in that game? I think it will be harder for them to do so than it necessarily is on paper. So yeah, from those teams, if you want an attacker, I won't be getting one, but Batshuayi or Zaha. Milivojevic, you're banking on them getting pens though, but then if he does score a penalty, he gets bonus points every time. And then in defence, Wan if you can't afford Schlupp, but Schlupp. So a lot of you talking to me, telling me, well, have this Chelsea defender, have that one. So, one of you asked about Alonso earlier. Could Saka affect Palace defensively? Yes, it could, but they've been not nearly as good. So which is why I think I will have Son in my team. It makes them not as good. It's simple as that, Varane. They are not nearly as good defensively, especially at the moment they're playing Tompkins and Kelly in the defence. It's not great. So yeah, they will be weaker. Again, thinking, will they keep a clean sheet against Huddersfield? Potentially not. But now we move on to Chelsea, and I am one very sad, annoyed, not angry, but annoyed, sad Chelsea fan at the moment. That's a good question, and I will get to that. I'll just make a note of that. Supersport must have in every position. Yeah, as a Chelsea fan, let me have it. Take the piss, take the mick, do whatever you want. So yeah. So for Chelsea, I'm caught in so many different minds about what we should do with them. We are awful at the moment. We are awful, and we know from you should see the players when they interview. They say they are so focused on the Europa League, which will be midweek of game week 33, I think, or midweek of 34. Midweek of 34, I think. So they've got time to recover, but it's after a Liverpool game. But I doubt it will affect rotation that much early on in 32. But you've seen us against Everton. You're right, Zebra. Welcome. We were good first half. We didn't put it in the back of the net. Hazard hit the post. Hazard went close again. And then the second half, I've never seen a performance like it. So you just don't know what defence is going to turn up. And there's rumours of Sarri not being there after the international break, which I'm not wholly for and I'm not against. I don't know how I feel on it. I think you want a Chelsea defender. I think that is a minimum. Cardiff away, Brighton at home. You just can't turn that down. You cannot ignore them. I think I'll have Hazard slightly out of fear, because you know what he can do, especially in two games like that. He's very unlikely to blank in both of those. Don't double up on Chelsea attack. That is a no-go. So I'd be getting Hazard or Higuain, and then this is it. Why does the new one fancies Christensen over Luiz? He could fancy Christensen over Rudiger. So this is why I'm thinking that I will be going Kepa and Azpilicueta in the defence, because we do rotate centre-backs a fair bit, and we never rotate Azpi because he's captain and Kepa because he's in goal and he runs the team. He is Captain Kepa, Manager Kepa. Maybe he'll take over from when he'll sack Sarri. He'll walk in and say, like whatever that vine is, look at me, I'm the captain now. He'll walk in and do that as Sarri gets sacked, and he'll become player manager. No, but I think there's a lot of risk over rotation. Do not touch our left backs. If I was going to advise buying a Chelsea left back, I'd buy Emerson. I hope after the weekend that Alonso never puts on a Chelsea shirt again. He is finished. I've never seen a performance like it in that game against Everton. Unbelievable how poor he was. Unbelievable. Do not buy Alonso. Do not touch him with a barge pole. Hope if I was running Chelsea, I'd tell him you can go home. Have the rest of the season off and we will sell you in the summer. I do not want him playing again. He is dreadful. Do not buy Alonso. Do not buy him. Do not buy him. Simple as that. I think one of them will play one game and I think one of them will play the other. I think that's probably how it will happen in 32. But do not go near Alonso. Simple. If you want Chelsea defenders, I'd go Aspi or Kepa and maybe risk a centre-back. Yeah, I mean, he saved 6 saves when he got lucky with a pen save and, well, not lucky, but then he conceded anyway. But, yeah, Kepa is probably the one I'm going to go for. But who do I want my 5-3 defenders? Can't have Schlupp, Aspi and Doherty. No, Zabby, you don't want Doherty. You want at least a City. You might have him in goal. City, United, Chelsea, Palace. Those are the defences you want. Simple. No one else. City, Chelsea, United, Palace. So yeah, for Chelsea, I am looking at Hazard and a defensive double up at the moment as a Chelsea fan. Yeah, defensive double up and Hazard is the way I'm looking at the moment. Maybe Higuain, I might take a punt on him, but I wouldn't double up on the attack, and I'd probably go for 2 Chelsea players. Foster could be okay in goal. Yeah, don't pick single play. No, exactly. On a free hit, there's no point. Pick a double game week player. No single game week team is that attractive. Arsenal versus Newcastle, but Newcastle set up very well away from home. Very solid away from home. Let me just go and... Sorry, one sec. I'll read the comments in a minute. Oh. There we go. So Shaw best? No, Shaw is not. Shaw is on 9 yellow cards. Lindelof is the best United defender. Lindelof or Smalling, I think, has played a lot recently, but I'm going Lindelof. Yeah, Lindelof. So guys, start firing your questions away. It's been me talking a lot. I need a breather. With a blocked nose, trying to talk a lot and not having to be able to breathe through your nose, it takes a lot out of you. So you fire away your questions for a minute, and I will get to answering them in just a sec. Fire all your questions in, guys. I will do... You keep firing them away, guys. I'll be back in just 1 second. Right, sorry, here we go. Yeah, you want 1 bench fodder. One bench fodder. Oh, right, lads. 1 bench fodder, Notorious Nerd. The other 2 don't need to play, so as cheap as you want. And for me, it'll probably be Wan-Bissaka from Palace because I have a lot of value in him and he's quite cheap. Where else you could look at a maybe Brighton centre back, but I would be looking probably Palace unless you want a single game week player from them. Lindelof is withdrawn from the national team though, might just be rest but one to watch. A lot of players are injured, but they're just making sure they don't play any games for the run-in. We saw it last international break as well. I wouldn't worry. Yeah, I think he just CBA playing. Jota instead of Jimenez. I think both of them will play one game. Varane, I think both of them will play one, so I wouldn't go near them, to be honest. Best formation 4-3 hit. It depends what players you want. I think you want to go 4-3-3, 3-5-2, or 3-4-3. Most people will be running a 3-4-3 though, I think. How many differentials should we be looking to have in your free hit? Currently have 3. Schlupp, Ericsson, Zaha. Is that enough? That is enough, Liam. That's sort of the max that I'd advise having. I think I'll probably have 2 or 1. So yeah, for me, I wouldn't be going too many. I think having your free hit being active and having 11 double game week players is a differential in itself. People forget the people on Twitter are on average much more active and much better at FPL than the average population. And you see everyone on Twitter has their free hit active, but the amount of people above you in the ranks who don't have any chips left, who you will climb above just by having your free hit active. So I wouldn't worry about having loads of differentials in your team. Don't be thrown by you having the same team as a lot of people on Twitter, because a lot of people on Twitter are a very small portion of the overall FPL players. Aguero or Sterling, who will you captain? I think for me it will be Aguero because he doesn't have international duty, although Sterling has done very well for me and I've not actually owned Aguero for a long time, but at the moment it will be Aguero. Mariappa, good bench fodder. He could be a Watford centre-back or a Wolves centre-back is a good option for your fodder as well. The likes of Bennett or Mariappa. Aguero or Sterling for captaincy is the big topic this game week. Yeah, it is. I think for me it will be Aguero. I think Sterling will probably play them both and probably play more minutes because Jesus will come in for Aguero sometimes. But I fancy Aguero, having not owned him for a long time. Aren't you a little worried to cap Sterling? They need him more importantly for Man United. The triple Spurs fixtures. Sane has hardly played, and they both play same position. Varane, I am not worried about captaining Sterling. I think they will rest in. They can rest in 33, and they can rest in 34. Aguero has pens as well, exactly. They can rest in 33 and 34 before those Tottenham and United fixtures. I wouldn't worry about Sterling not playing minutes. They've got how many months? 2 months left between now and the end of the season, so he'll push them to the edge. He'll push them to their limits so they can, and then they'll have the summer off. My defence currently on free hit is Edison, Asp, Lindelof and Schlupp. Is that good? Yeah, that is very solid at the moment. There's not much I'd change in that. I'm tempted as my differential to have double Chelsea defence, but it's nothing essential. So as one of you asked earlier, I think it was Super Sport Gaming, SSG, must-haves in every position. So I will start up front, and of course Aguero is a must-have. I think you have to have him. I think you probably want Rashford. I think he's almost essential. In the midfield, Sterling, Pogba, both essential. A lot of people looking at Hazard, not a bad shout at all, but not essential. Definitely not. You want one of Hazard or Son. You want 2 of Hazard, Son, Rashford, Kane, Higuain. You want 2 of them out of those 5, and not the 2 from the same team. So not Hazard and Higuain, and not Son and Kane. But out of Rashford, Higuain, Kane, Son, Hazard, you want a minimum of 2 of those. Who else? Oh, and in defence, you want probably a defender from City. You want a City defender, a Chelsea defender, and then one of United or Palace, or both. Deulofeu, as I said, I think Watford will rotate heavily in that Fulham game, so I wouldn't go near Deulofeu. Batshuayi is definitely a possibility. He is definitely a good differential. Best non-top 6 side game week player would be in a Palace player. Well, Chelsea don't look like a top 6 side at the moment, but we'll leave them out. It will be a Palace player, and I'd probably go Schlupp because he plays in the midfield, he gets assists. Yeah, that's who I'd be going with. I don't know why Sane doesn't get game time. He has quality, but there's obviously something going on there. I wouldn't touch Sane either. I'm thinking of using my wildcard this game and as I've used my hit, I'm thinking of going for. So Matt, before I see your team, oh here it is. You need to make sure backup Daniels Benderak. I wouldn't have Daniels in there because Daniels isn't playing. So change Daniels out. Midfield, Sterling, Pogba, Deulofeu, Mane, Son. Yep. Okay, that's good. You'd probably be playing Deulofeu or maybe Mane forward. Jimenez, Rondon, Aguero. I'd try and change out Rondon. I know he plays in 33, but you can always make a transfer then. Sorry, did you make Stealth Panda? Did you make a comment? Oh, what sounds better? Kepa, Schlupp, Aspi, Lindelof, David Silva. I wouldn't go David Silva, so the one without David Silva. De Gea, Laporte, Aspi, Rudiger. That one. Zebra, you can. I won't be doing a team, but I will message you, reply on Twitter. If you will, I'll put the hashtag in. I won't do them live on stream because I don't have that much time left. But I'll put the hashtag, guys. So if you tweet out with this hashtag, I will reply to you this evening, and I will talk about your team. I will go through your team for you. We've been live for 53 minutes. Wow. Zaha, Batshuayi or Townsend. I wouldn't go Townsend. I'd go Zaha or Batshuayi. Probably Zaha because he is the talisman there. Which players would you bring in for Daniels and Rondon? Bear in mind they are my bottom budget players. I would have a Brighton defender. I don't think you had one. No, a Brighton defender seeing all their blanks, all their doubles. Zaha, I'm sure he'll be fine. If he's fit, I'd take Zaha. A Brighton defender over Daniels, and then Rondon. I mean, Rondon's not bad. Who do they have? Arsenal, though, is the only thing. I presume you'd be benching him then, but then you'd be playing on it. Okay. And then maybe Batshuayi or something like that up front. Maybe, yeah, Batshuayi is not a bad shout. And then you could transfer him out for someone who doubles in 35. But Batshuayi in for Rondon if you can afford those. So, guys, get your final questions in. Feel very drained. Of course, plenty of time to recover, and I'm sure he would. Maybe I should message his brother again, if anyone remembers that. I messaged his brother, and he replied to me telling me he was fine, and he scored the weekend after 250,000 people had transferred him out or something. Zaha Gate, as it was called. Yeah, guys, get your final questions in. If not, I will say a massive thank you. So I'll just say that now. Yeah, it was me, G-Wiz. I was the one who messaged him. If you remember that. Yeah, that was me. It was all over a lot of the, not papers, but like online articles and things like that. So yeah, guys, thank you a lot for your stream. For coming to watch me. Make sure you hit the like button, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, do the lot. Message me on all the platforms. Message me on all the platforms across these 2 weeks. Send me as many screenshots as your teams as you want, and I will be rating them. I'll be going through them a lot more in the evenings than in the day, but I will get back to every single one of you who sends me a message. Thanks, Jewiz. Finally, to avoid Watford or Wolves players. Yeah, I would avoid them. I am. So yeah, thank you all. I hope you all have a good weekend. Enjoy the little bit of international football if you do. If not, spend your weekend planning your game week 32 teams. Get those free hit chips activated. But yeah, guys, thanks a lot. I'm alright. I'll be fine. Don't worry about me. But yeah, guys, thank you all for coming by. I look forward to talking to you all on Twitter. If not, I will see you next week, I think. If not, see you guys. Thanks.